Welcome to the Tiger Interview Series.
In this episode, we have David Birkby doing a solo podcast, and he's going to be speaking on recruiting and how to start from scratch. He has been helping our players since the inception of the Tigers. I hope you enjoy this episode.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another Tiger Interview Series. My name is David Birkby, and I'm one of the national directors and general manager of the Rawlings Tigers Baseball and Softball Club. Today's topic that I wanted to jump into is a topic that I have been thinking about lately. It's something that I see, I think maybe it's a misguided topic on social media these days. And it's definitely a topic that I hear from parents and players all the time, as there's a lot of confusion around when this particular process starts. And what I'm talking about today is the recruiting process. And when does the recruiting process start? And to give you a little bit more background as to why I might or might not be qualified to talk on this topic, one of the jobs that I've had with our St. Louis Tigers since the get-go back in 2010 has been to handle the recruiting process and help players and parents and families get through that process and help the players who want to work their way onto collegiate athletics get there. So I have a ton of meetings year-round where I bring in families and players, and we discuss the process from start to finish. How to simply start. When do they start? What should they be doing? How should they be contacting college coaches? What information should they be sending? When should they be sending it? There's just so many questions and so many unknowns that a parent and player that we talk it out throughout the year. But one of the most commonly unknown questions that I always get is, well, we don't have a clue when we should start. Is that, as an eighth grader? I mean, listen, we see them getting committed, whether I like it or not, or anybody else, it is happening. Is that for everybody? No, that's the top 1 of 1%, maybe. Is it their freshman year? Is it their sophomore year? Is it when they enter high school? For me, personally, I look back at my career. I was a junior in high school. I was pretty good. Tall dude. I'm 6'5". I had a little arm strength. I could pitch. I had some pretty good stats, my junior year. My process, I didn't even really think of it as other than watching, baseball on TV and being like, hey, that'd be kind of cool if I got to play there. The College World Series every June, watching Arkansas and North Carolina go. And I was like, man, that'd be sweet if I got to play for one of those teams. But it didn't really start for me or even consider anything about college baseball until some of my teammates started going and getting recruited their junior year. So that's when I kind of started. But I look back at that, and I feel like a lot of kids and a lot of parents get kind of lumped into that situation because they don't really understand that, honestly, you can start the recruiting process whenever you want. It doesn't mean that you're talking to college coaches or currently getting recruited. That's the common misnomer, in my opinion, is that people will say the only time you enter the recruiting process is when you're getting recruited. I believe that's wrong, because I think there's a lot of buildup that occurs for a player before they ever talk to a college coach. A lot of skills are acquired. A lot of, research is done. A lot of just finding out information about if I actually want to play collegiate baseball or softball. Do I want to put in the time, the effort? Do I want to go through all the struggles and, there's a lot that goes into it. Do I want to be that person? Is that a part of my future? Or do I just want to be in college, which is fine. That is great. So I literally sit down, and the first thing that whenever we have these meetings with players, the first thing we talk about is how to get started. Again, this happens in so many different age groups. And personally, I think it starts whenever you have an inkling of interest in college sports. Whenever you sit in the mirror or you're sitting alone by yourself and you go, I wonder if that could be me. I wonder if I could do that. Could I play at the University of Missouri? Could I play in college? Could I do it? Whenever that question starts to hit your mind, what I would recommend, and this could be for parents too. Maybe parents are sitting there and going, he's pretty good right now. He's an 8th grader, but he's pretty good. Like, he does pretty well compared to his peers. And he's entering high school, and maybe he's got a shot. Should we be thinking about college right now? Well, maybe not have every plan detailed out, but can you start to research? Sure, of course. There's this beautiful thing called the internet out there. It will give you a ton of information about college athletics. It will tell you all the different levels, Division 1, 2, 3, NAIA, junior college. It'll tell you kind of the talent level of each of those players. There's a million showcase companies out there now that tell you exactly where players have gone. And guess what? They list metrics. They list their abilities, their skill level. You can start to kind of compare. You can go to games, right? I know we're kind of living in the COVID era where, they might be restricting, but as soon as that lifts, and it has lifted in a lot of areas, you can go watch. You can go see that skill level. I believe that is as an important factor to the recruiting process than anything else. Going and seeing what it's like. I recommend to players all the time, you need to go as early to that game as possible. You need to see what a college player is going to do before the game, how early they get there, what their pregame's like, what it's like during the game. Maybe stay after. See how long they're at the field. See where they go after the field. You'll start to realize that, especially if, let alone a Division I level, but even at the Division II level, you'll start to realize those are 8, 9, 10-hour days. And you start to think, it's a little different than what it is in high school. It's different than what it is as a summer program. Do I want that? Can I see myself giving up an entire weekend every spring to do that? Can I factor in grades with that? Can I keep up? Do I want more of a social aspect in college, which is fine. But you start to ask questions. So to me, at that point, the processes began, right? Maybe it's as simple as I'm learning how to do social media posts on recruiting. Maybe I'm putting myself out there, posting a video about myself, learning how to promote myself properly on social media. That can start at any age. I'm telling you, we post about our players all the time on social media, and a lot of times it's younger athletes. And honestly, sometimes it's athletes who are not ready yet to get recruited. They're not doing the specific, they don't have the skill set yet to attract the college coach's attention. So I get backlash all the time, and I see backlash happen on social media, which I hate this, in all honesty. I hate it. I see backlash where that player or the person who posts it just gets ridiculed because they're like, well, of course he's uncommitted. He's an 8th grader. Or of course he's uncommitted. He throws 70 miles per hour off the mound, or he runs an 8-second 60, or he only hits 75 on his exit velocity. I would answer back, but he's learning a skill set. He's learning how to approach the promotional aspect of recruiting, because whether you like it or not, that is a big, big factor today. The old days saying of, well, if you're skilled, they'll find you. If you're good, they'll find you. Still kind of true. But now with all these resources available to you, whether it be social media, showcases, and we'll talk about that here in a second, or games or tournaments and all these different club options and everything that's out there, you're going to find them a lot quicker than they're going to find you. And by learning that skill set, you're entering the recruiting process, right? Maybe it's going to a college camp. Maybe it's going to a showcase like Prep Baseball Report or Perfect Game or any other, showcase company that out there that does a quality job. Again, maybe you're not ready from a skill set standpoint to light the world on fire. It's okay. You're learning about the experience so that the next time you go, when you are ready to showcase your skills to college coaches, you're not nervous. You're not trying to do way too much. And you can comfortably sit there and show off your skills, which is always when you're going to shine the most. And maybe it's a simple conversation with your parents or with a club director or a coach of asking questions about the recruiting process. Maybe that's the start. There's so many different examples to it, and I don't want I get a little upset sometimes when players don't feel comfortable, like they don't know where to start or can't ask questions. There's so many different examples to me that would define you starting your recruiting process. And it does bother me when I think people just think you have to be getting calls from college coaches to when you start the process. That's just wrong. And I don't think we're doing our players a service in terms of the educational aspect of getting them ready to find out if they want to do it. That's where I think we start off. And then the way I've always approached it after that is I'm an open book. I will be here to help you as much as you can, but it has to be you. You have to be the driver. Now, if you continuously come back to me or another coach or your parents or anybody else with great questions and looking for great advice, my gosh, the world is your oyster. I will give you everything you want. I will tell you the secrets. They're not that they are secrets, but I will tell you the path and lay it out there because we've had 230 plus kids go on and play college baseball and softball. I think that we do a pretty good job of getting them onto the next level, and everybody's path's a little bit different, but we have a lot of answers. But the key is it's got to be you. So developing those skills early, asking those questions, doing the research, going to games, filling out going to showcase, whatever it might be. Start early. Not fifth grade. That's you're way too young, but start early. Start to have those conversations. It doesn't have to go deep. It can just be an idea. And then see how that idea blossoms. See how far it goes. And then as that idea continuously comes back to you quicker, sooner, now it's encompassing your thought, then it's time. You want this. And it seems like it took a long time to get to that part, which it probably does for a lot of athletes. But once it gets there, the funny thing is now the real work starts because you're not just working and researching and finding the right fit to commit to, which I think a lot of kids mess up with. I think a lot of players mess up with the situation. I know I'm going off in a different tangent, but they mess up in just wanting to get to that commitment part. You're working your tail off and doing all that research and finding the right fit to find a place where you're going to succeed, where you're going to play, succeed, carve a path out for your future, because those 4 years of college are going to make a humongous impact on your future. You're going to build lifelong friends. You're going to learn who you are, what you're going to do with your life. You're going to learn a lot there, on the field, off the field. So taking all that information in, starting young, that's why I think the recruiting process starts with those early conversations, those simple, just hit the start buttons, just start trying, just start asking, just start talking. That's when it starts. So anyhow, just wanted to kind of hop on here, talk a little bit about recruiting and talk about a myth, and maybe a misdirected idea of when the recruiting process should start for young athletes, because I think that, again, just to reiterate what I've said a million times here, it starts when you want it. It starts when you develop that idea of, can I be a collegiate athlete? Thanks for listening, guys. I hope you find some value in these Tiger interview series. Spiker and the crew have been killing it with these videos, and we've had directors on who have done a fantastic job of passing along some information. We've had some of the Tigers coaches. We've had strength conditioning coordinators. Brian Fitzmaurice has jumped in again, and the point is we're going to bring some information to you that's going to help you. So the best thing you can do for us is, if you find value in an episode, if you like a segment in an episode, please pass that along to a friend, to a teammate. Pass it along to your parents. Maybe it's an episode where they might like it, or parents, pass along to your kid if you think it's applicable to them. But the idea is to share this and grow this and pass along great information that's going to help the game and help you, because that's been a day one core principle of what the Rawlings Tigers are all about, and we'll continue. So if you like it, subscribe to the interview series. There's a podcast form, and then we will put this out on YouTube. Give it a like, give it a share, and thanks for listening as always. Guys, take care.